A lot has happened since your infamous interview with then Prince Andrew over the Epstein scandal. There's now pressure on police to investigate Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. Why hasn't that happened?
Yeah, it's a really good question. There's that phrase that's used in sort of political theory, which is slowly and then suddenly. And that feels like where we are now. Things could have started 6 years ago. Things could have really changed rapidly 6 years ago, but they didn't. I think human nature is not to do anything until you have to. The pressure has come from the victims themselves for so long. So long, it's been relentless that they've said, you need to listen, you need to act, you need to hear us, you need to believe us. And I guess now we've got all the Epstein files, it's on us. It's on us as journalists and reporters, and it's on the prosecutors and the lawyers and the institutions like Congress and the palace to say, yeah, we hear you, we're doing this now.
And look, aside from the royal family, the Epstein files have obviously been causing huge political problems for the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer.
He's lost, obviously, his ambassador to Washington, and he's lost his chief of staff, and he's lost his head of comms. And there are other kind of smaller but significant scandals still circulating around the Prime Minister now. I mean, when you're faced with something like the Epstein files, there is such criminality in there. There are rapists, there are paedophiles, there are money launderers, there are human traffickers. We kind of have to decide on a scale of criminality. And I think that there is a danger that at this point we kind of throw up our hands and say, oh, they're all the same, they were all complicit, they were all friends of pedos, they were all doing the same thing. They weren't. Epstein was on a different scale to anyone else. And the men who worked within his circle were kind of repellent and repulsive and kind of the next level down. And I think we have to differentiate between somebody who didn't ask the right questions, somebody who was maybe foolish in their decision-making, and somebody who was a master criminal, and say, actually, we can't just fire everyone. We can't just sort of equate everyone in the same sort of morass of kind of scum. We need a grading system now. We need to know who are the real criminals and who are the people who kind of, should have known better but didn't. And we have to sort of work out, I think, a sense of proportion in terms of how we respond to each of them now.